All right, welcome back, students. Today we are going to learn how to build an assembly using Autodesk Inventor Professional. So go ahead and double click on Autodesk Inventor Professional. Okay, your screen should look like this. All right. Now, today we're going to build an assembly, so it's a little bit different. Okay, so go up here in the top left-hand corner and select New. And then select New. And then, okay, so we have to determine whether it's English or metric. Go ahead and select metric. And then what you need to do is you need to come down until you find, I'm going to have to expand this a little bit so I can find it here. Alright, so we need to build an assembly. So where is it hiding? Oh, right here. Alright, so notice I'm going to select metric. And I'm going to come over here to where it says standard millimeters IAM. This is a new one for us. I is inventor, and A is assembly, M is model. Inventor, assembly, model. Okay?
Okay, so
we're not doing IPT. We're doing actually
IAM?
IAM. And then,
millimeter IAM?
yeah, this one right here. Can you see it?
Yep.
This one. Okay. All right. Now select Create. It's going to take a second or two to come up. And then your menu is going to look totally different than what you've seen in the past. Over here, the very first icon that you see, it says to place. Please pay close attention here. We want to click on place and then select place again. Alright, now we have to go and look for our parts that we want to use for this particular assignment. Earlier, I had you move some files over to the Documents folder, and the one that I want you to select first is the base plate. So select base plate. Did you save it to Documents? Or wherever you saved it. You may have to go look at a different file.
I don't think I made base plate yet.
No, you should have saved 4 files.
Nope.
Okay, so just hang on to your hat for right now. Just kind of watch. So this was my first one. Okay. Now select Open. All right. Now notice that I can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. Go up here to your View Cube and click on Isometric. Okay. Now what I want you to do is do a left click and then do a right click. Now here's important here. Place grounded at origin. Don't select OK. Place grounded at origin. Click on that and then hit your escape key. Now, did you get 2 parts like I did? I got 2 parts. Let me try to bring mine back in again. I don't know why I did that, but I'm going to try to bring mine back in again. That's okay. It's good practice. Place. So you're placing the part. Find the part that I want to place. I want to place the base plate. Select Open. Click. Right click. Place grounded at origin. And you know why it's doing that? Because you shouldn't have to hit your left mouse button. That's what I'm doing wrong. So try this one more time. 3 times you strike out, right? Place, place. Click on the base plate. Open. Right click. Place grounded origin. That's what I did wrong. Hit the escape key. Wow. Sorry. Had a little mental block there. I'm going to try it again. Okay, so if you have this, I want you to notice over here in the browser there is a pin here. It means it's locked. It's not going to move. Now I'm going to do it again. If you're in the same boat I'm in, okay, go to place, place, select your part, and obviously I'm going to select the base plate first. Open. Now this is where I was doing wrong earlier. Do a right click and select place grounded at origin. Now you see you have a ghost image of a part. Just hit the escape key. Does everyone have the base plate? Yes, sir.
How did you get it sitting in that view? You went over to the...
I went over here and selected, but it shifted on me anyway. So all you have to do really is you can get into this view here once you've got it. It's just easier to assemble it here this way. Does everyone have the base plate in? Okay. Mr. Morris messed up because I hit the left mouse button instead of the right mouse button. When you bring it in, you have to hit the right mouse button and then place grounded at origin. Alright, so now I would like to bring in part number 2. Okay? So go to place, place. This time, I want you to select, you have to scroll through your little icons here. I want you to find this one called bearing. Select bearing and select open. Now watch, it's floating around with my cursor, right? I'm going to do a right click. Now this time select OK. Do not select place grounded origin. Select OK. And this really gave me a fit today. Where did it go? Did yours stay in place?
No.
Try this again.
You haven't placed it yet. You should right click that, okay? Or left click that, okay?
Yeah, that's right. You got to, well, the other one didn't require it. So left click, right click, okay. All right. So you do have to do a left click.
I think what you did last time was you placed grounded at origin, so you didn't need to do a left click.
I think that's right. Mr. Morris gets kind of rusty. I'm getting old. All right. So we got this part. Notice that there's a pin, right, for this part. Do we have a pin for this one? No, because we didn't place it grounded at origin. Now, what we need to do, and this can be tricky. I noticed with the newer version of Inventor, it's a little tricky, but hang in here. It'll be okay. Do a right click on this part and come down to where it says free rotate. Now, using your left mouse button and holding it down, you can, now you have to release your mouse button to reposition your cursor and keep move it like this until it looks something like this. Okay, I'm going to give you a second or two to get used to that because that's kind of different. Select OK. And just click anywhere on the screen. After you select OK, it may look blue looking. Just click on the screen again. I'm going to do it again. All right. So if you're here, don't blink. If you're not there, I'm going to undo what I just did. And I'm going to go place, place. Come over here and find my bearing, which is right here. Select open. That's right. Do a left click, right click, select OK. All right. Now, I want to maneuver this, try to reorient this some, do a right click on this, and come down to free rotate. And you holding your left mouse button down, you can follow this vertical line here, you can follow this horizontal line here, You can hold your left mouse button and go around the outside of the circle here. So I'm just going to kind of, it takes a little practice, okay? But as long as you're close, that's okay. Then do a right click, okay. And then click your left mouse button. Okay, so now you have something like this. Everyone have this? All right, now I want to place this part onto this one. And it used to be very easy to do, but for some reason in the newer version of Inventor, it's not as easy to do. I don't know why, but it's not. But I can show you how to fix it. Go to Constrain right here on your menu bar. Select Constrain. Okay. Now, what happens as I move my cursor over these holes? What do you see appear?
Center line.
Center line. Does everybody see that? Don't click now. I'm just showing you as I move my cursor over these lines, what appears as a center line. As soon as that center line appears like this, click. Now, come over here to this hole right here and click on that center line. Okay? Now you said, Mr. Morris, that is not what I really want. I know it's not. So what you have to do is you have to hit the Align button, and it makes it upright. See these two buttons here? Look here. These two. Click on the one that says Align. I didn't used to have to do that, but I have to do that with a newer version for some reason. Someone had to find something to change about Inventor, so. Select OK. Now, obviously, that's not lined up yet like we want. Take your left mouse button, hold it down, and pull it up like this. And you notice now that that hole is still lined up. It's not moving. Move it up some like this above the part. Okay? And then click on the screen somewhere off the part. Now I'm going to go to the Constrain button again, my good friends. Click on Constrain. Come over here to this hole and click on this one. So as soon as you see the center line, click. Come over here, hover, center line, click, and select Apply. And for some reason it didn't like it. Let's try this again. Let's see here. Let me try something here just for a second. You just kind of wait for me just a second to see what's going on. I think what I'm going to do is actually use this center line here. Okay, let me see if that lined up okay. If it did, I think it did. Alright, so I'm going to undo what I just did and have you walk through this with me. Alright, so this is where we're at. This is where you and I are at right here. And what I try to do, and you used to be able to do it without a problem. I can click on this hole and click on this one. It doesn't like when I do that now. So what I'm going to do is go to Constrain and click on this center line, click on this one, and then hit this Aligned. Okay, now those center lines are aligned and select Apply. And then close out your dialog box. Alright, Mr. Morris, that part is still not sitting flush on this surface here. Yes, we have this hole aligned and we have the center hole aligned, but it is not where it needs to be. So how do we do that? Remember, this part is still locked. This is your foundation. Alright, so we're going to go to the Constrain. Now watch very carefully. I'm going to come over here to this icon right here. What's the name of that one? Can you read it?
Free orbit.
Free Orbit. Click on Free Orbit and just rotate this. Hold your left mouse button down and rotate it until I can see the underside surface of this part. then come back over here and cut orbit off. Now that's a command you can do in the middle of this process. We want to do a mate. If you look right here under solution, it says mate. Come up here and click on the underside of this part right here.
Did you click on mate?
Yeah, I clicked on mate, and I came over here and I clicked on the underside of the bearing.
Right.
All right, now watch my mouse. I'm going to go back to what? Orbit. Okay, so that I can see the top surface of this part. Go back over here, toggle on, toggle off, cut orbit off. And then I'm going to click on this surface right here. You should hear like a little bleep. Select apply and close it out. So we have two parts in place. Congratulations. Okay. Now I'm going to bring the collar in here. Again, Mr. Morris used to be able to do really good building the assemblies, and what happened is Inventor changed a few things and made it more difficult. All right. So here we go, my good friends. Go to place. Place. And this time I want you to scroll down and find the collar. The collar is hiding from us. Right here it is. Select collar and open. Remember, do a left click, right click, OK. Now we have to change the orientation of this a little bit. If you do a right click on this part and come down to where it says free rotate, and then hold your left mouse button down, and you're going to have to play with this some, but after doing as long as I have, you get somewhat fairly good at it. Alright, I got to cut this off, so just do a right click, OK. And then hit your left mouse button because it's blue. Everyone get that? Jonah, you guys okay? I can bring it in again. Alright, now, so again, this is what I experienced when they changed to 2019 and 2020. My students looked at me, Mr. Morris, you know what you're doing. I used to, till they made this change. But I figured it out now. You just go to constrain, click on the center line here, see the arrows is pointing down, click on this one, and said, where is it, Mr. Morris? Hit OK. Well, go inside. If you can't breathe too hard now, go. Move your mouse near the part, right? You'll see it highlight. Hold your left mouse button and pull it up like this. Hold your left mouse button down and pull it up, and then click on your screen. Hopefully, if you go to orbit, you can see that part. Okay? Alright. I'm going to cut orbit off right now. Now, what I need to do is mate this. Now, if you work with mechanical things a lot, you can see that this surface right here of this collar is actually going to bottom out right here first, possibly. So, and if it doesn't, then what we can do is take this surface and see if it bottoms out here. But I think from what I can remember in the past, this is a good fit. This bottoms out here on this surface right here. Okay? So I'm going to go to constrain, and I'm going to select mate. Then I'm going to come over here, select free orbit, hold my left mouse button down a little bit, move it up like this. I can see underneath this now. Come over here, cut 3D orbit off, and I'm going to zoom in with my scroll wheel, and I'm going to click on this surface. Then I'm going to zoom out with my scroll wheel and watch this. I'm going to go back over here, select what? 3D orbit. Actually, used to call it 3D orbit. Hold your left mouse button down till I can see that you can zoom in till I can see the inside of this seat here. That's where it's going to seat at. And turn off orbit and click on this seat. And it looks like it's seated fine. Select apply. I'll do it again if I need to. Let me find out where you're at. Do I need to do that again? Okay, very good. Now we got some screws that we have to put in here. Right? And we're going to do this a little bit differently here. So go to place, and we're going to come over here and we're going to scroll down until we can find our little cap screw here. Don't pick up the one that I modeled the other day. That would be the wrong one. Did I not save it? Oh, here it is. It's actually called cap screw. Select the cap screw. Select open. Now watch. Left click here, and perhaps a left click here, and then a right click. Okay. Now I put two of them there because I'm going to need two of them. Now watch how nice this is. I actually prefer this method better. Go to constrain, and this time on this menu, if you look right here, you have an insert. You have an insert. Okay? We want to insert this screw into this hole. So what I want you to do is zoom in on the screw, and I want you to click the seat of the screw right there. That's called the seat. And then I want you to move your cursor over here and click on the seat of the hole and apply. And it didn't go because I didn't select insert. Let me undo this. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. Let me try this again. I'm sorry. I'm getting old, like I said earlier. Select constraint. This is what we need to select. And I didn't do a good job of selecting that. I didn't click hard enough. Click on this. Actually, with this one, I guess. Okay. So click on the seat. You'll see an arrow here. And then come over here and click on this seat here. You may have to flip it. And it's doing something really weird. Why is that not seated properly? Alright, so it's making a liar out of me twice. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. If it doesn't work this time, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. It should work though. It did work on you. I hit the insert button, and okay, so I guess that arrow didn't stay with mine last time. Okay, it went that time. Let me try this again. I think that where I was selecting, go to constrain, perhaps select this circle here, that one, and this one, and didn't like that. Cancel. Oh, because I didn't see it. It's not letting me go to constrain. I'm not selecting this icon. It's very important I select this one. I'm just so used to not using that. Select insert. Then you should see this come up here. Click here and then here. Okay, there we go. Apply. Close up. Sorry about that. Does everyone have an assembly? It's the same process every time. You're going to be learning some other things about assemblies here too, but you're going to be learning this as we go along with our assignments. You'll have 2 assembly assignments this semester. in addition to your final project. You know you have to model your final project and build an assembly of it. Now, the other day, I'll talk about it later in the video, but there were some students who were upset with me about the project. So I'll talk to you about that after the class. All right, so we need to save this. So I'm going to say File, Save As, and I'm just going to call it Bearing Assembly. Bearing Assembly. Save. And just say yes to all and OK. Okay, now we need to make, guess what? An assembly drawing. Where does the assembly drawing come into your project? Well, you have to generate an assembly drawing and all the details that support the assembly at the end of the semester, or turn in at the end of the semester. So just like any other drawing, we're going to go to File, New, and make sure metric is selected here. And we want to come down here to right here, ANSI, millimeters, IDW, and create. This should look familiar to you. Now I'm going to change the border. So right click on sheet 1, come down and select edit sheet, and we're going to select size A, and then select portrait, select OK. About the drawing? About the drawing? Just watch right now, okay? Don't try to keep up. Just watch, because you're. All right. So select base. All right. Now, I'm going to get this into an isometric view here. It's kind of small, right? So let's see what 1 looks like if I make a scaled 1. Too big. How about type in 0.75? Well, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to move this up here like this. Only one drawing or one view on this drawing here, this sheet, on this one. This is your assembly drawing. Now later on I'll show you how to do an exploded assembly. Okay? Select OK. Now we want to shade this, so move your cursor near the part and right click and go to Edit View, and let's turn on the shaded option. Select OK, my good friends. You're doing a beautiful job. Just hang in there. We doing all right, Mr. Sanders? All right. Now, don't panic about this stuff. You're going to have plenty of opportunities to work on this, work together, and you'll eventually get it. Now we have to add a bill of materials to this assembly. You're going to have to do the same thing for your project. Now some of these names you may have to make up because you don't know what to call it. I know the Aaron's team is doing the steam engine.
I know what they're called.
Okay, that's good. You know what every part is, but you might be doing something kind of odd. And if you are, you may have to come up with a unique name for a part. Talk to Mark. Mark might know what to call it. Talk to me. Some of us might know what it's called. Okay? I'm sure Mark doesn't mind. If you have a question like that, say, what should I call this, Mark? Mark's worked with a lot of, machine components and so forth. So he might be of some help to you. We need to add a bill of materials here. So go to Annotate. Right here, this tab, Annotate. And come over here to where it says Parts List. Click on Parts List. And you'll see this dialog box come up. Just move your mouse until you see the red rectangle appear around your assembly. As soon as you see that red rectangle, click. And then select OK. And then select OK again. Now, look here. We got this floating bill of materials, if you will. If you notice, if you zoom in with your scroll wheel, it will snap. The bill of materials will snap to that right hand. Look what it's doing. I'm trying to move it just kind of slowly. It will snap to this corner right here. When it does, click and do a right click. Well, there's no OK when I do a right click. So when you don't see an OK when you do a right click, just hit the escape button a couple times. Alright, so the first thing we see here is a bill of materials that Mr. Morris is going to have issues with, because it's not correct. So, where it says description, base plate and bearing and collar and cap screw should really be over here. Okay? We don't have a part number for this particular assembly. So go ahead and double click on this parts list, and you see something that looks like an Excel spreadsheet that comes up. What I want to do up here on the, well, not yet. We're going to hit this in just a minute. Go ahead and click on description right beside base plate here, and all caps type in base plate. I know this should be automatic, but this case is not. Click on the next line, you'll see it turns blue. You know what that means when it turns blue? That was a manual override. Why am I putting all the letters uppercase? Because on drawings it should all be uppercase, right? I'm going to give you time to catch up. Select apply. Just say OK for right now. Alright, so description I like, but I don't like this. I got to get rid of this part number. But notice I have uppercase letters here now. So Mr. Morris is not having much of a nervous breakdown anymore. Alright. So go ahead and double click on the parts list. And up here in the top left hand corner, if you hover over that, it says column chooser. Click on that. Now, notice all these options we have. And over here, the selected properties are the ones that we already have. We have the, look here, we have the item number, and we have the quantity, we have the part number, we have the description. I no longer want part number, so click on part number and then remove it. Now I want to add the material. There's one over here under available properties. Select material, okay, and then select add. Alright. Now we got item, quantity, description, material. I think that's satisfactory for right now. Select OK and then apply. And then close out your dialog box. Now, we have a parts list here that Mr. Morris still does not like. I can tell you that these should be uppercase letters. Now what you can do is just double click on this and you can go change them manually. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now. Well, let's just go ahead and do it. just go ahead and click on this and make sure they're all uppercase letters. One thing I don't understand about Inventor, this system is designed for engineers and designers to use. I'm not sure why the default is lowercase letters. Something I've always wondered about. Mark, is it okay to use lowercase letters now in drawings?
Nope.
I ain't think so either. So it has an extra step. If they make them uppercase letters, I wouldn't have to worry about it. Say, hit apply. Okay. Oh my goodness, Mr. Morris, it's changed. This is like Excel now. If you worked with Excel, just move your cursor over here. There's a little grip here. Just pull it a little bit, and you'll see it'll straighten out. Now, how do you fix? Now, I have another problem if your bill of materials looks like this. What's wrong with it, Mr. Morris? It looks perfectly fine to me. What's wrong with it is I want this vertical line here to line up with a vertical line here. So, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this line over. Watch. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to line this up like that. Okay? And then, likewise, I'm going to line this one up. And you say, well, maybe I can make some more space here. Okay, I'm making more space, but what I can do is go back and change this back the way it was. It's just like Excel. If you've worked with Excel, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I don't know.
I think something else you can do to help align the lines is if you're like dragging back and forth, if you pull the mouse lower, you can like try centering it on the line below.
Okay. All right. So we have the item, the quantity. Now we got to add balloons. Mr. Morris, what is a balloon? A balloon is a liter. If you ever go to Walmart, I guess you're not going to be able to go to Kmart too many. Because Kmart's a done deal, right?
Definitely.
But if you go and you buy the cheap furniture like I used to always buy until I got married, my wife said I wasn't allowed to buy that stuff no more. It has like 1,000 parts to it, right, when you open it up. And it's got these little balloons pointing to each part. It's a liter, and you'll see a circle, and it's got a number in it, and it's pointing to a part. Well, right here, what I want you to do, you see on the menu where it says balloon? Select balloon, okay, and then balloon again. Now watch. I'm going to click on that one, left click again, right click, continue, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to brush up against this part. I'm going to click. I'm going to drag my balloon out like this. Left click, right click, continue. Okay. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on this part and I'm going to drag it out like this. Left click, right click, continue. Now I've got a couple of screws here I got to worry about, so I'm going to click on this one perhaps, and maybe come this way to be a little bit different. Click, left click, and then right click, continue. All right, now notice something about the numbering system here. Did I make up those numbers?
Nope.
What made up the numbers?
The order in which you insert.
Thank you. Good observation. The order in which I inserted the parts, that's the numbering system. Now, if you look, it corresponds to the bill of materials. This is nice, isn't it? Look. Number 1, it says quantity 1, or item 1, quantity 1, base plate, and the material. Number 2, same thing, gives you all the information. And we have 2 cap screws. Now, my colleague, I love him to death, he's an electrical engineer, a cap screw is not sufficient. You have to give the size, right, of the cap screw. So, in the real world, we would give a size here for this cap screw.
also make another suggestion?
You can make as many suggestions you want.
If you're ever doing an assembly like this, and you have items such as a cap screw that you're buying from a MasterCard, it's always helpful that you put the MasterCard part number.
Absolutely. Say McMaster-Carr somewhere if you want and give their part number. I'm going to show you something else neat about McMaster-Carr a little bit later. Okay, now let's go ahead and complete our drawing package here somewhat, because you have to submit a drawing package, your team does. But you're going to have a couple assemblies to do yourself. Not real complex assemblies. You don't have that kind of time. All right. So we need to edit this here, right? So remember, come up here on the browser and we do a what? Right click, come down to iProperties, right? And we're going to go to Summary, the Summary tab. And the title of this is Inventor Assembly. And the subject is CAD 241. And the name here, you just put your last name, all uppercase letters. The manager would, of course, be me. Uppercase letters. Company, Thomas Nelson Community College. Category, you can say inventor classwork if you want to.
Sorry.
That's okay. And then keywords, comments, you can write whatever you want to there. It's not going to show up on the title block anyway. Go to project and come down to where it says designer, and you're going to put your last name because you are the designer. For engineer, you're going to put your last name because you are the engineer. And authority, you can put my name. Okay? And then we're going to go to status and checked by you. Engineer approved by me and manufactured approved by me. Apply. And then we're going to close out this box. Now, we haven't saved this yet. As soon as we save it, our file name will appear here in the drawing number. So go to File, Save As, Save, and you'll notice that Barron Assembly appears here now. All right. So, how do you lay out your drawing package? This is important. Okay, like I said, this was a very important video, so please go back and watch it again. But we're not done yet. Notice that we need to have a drawing with dimensions and so forth, right? Okay, there's no dimensions here. So what part do you think I'm going to try to dimension first on my second sheet? I'm going to create a second sheet, and what part do you think I'm going to dimension first? Part 1. Watch how you do this. Right-click on the sheet. Right-click on the sheet itself and select New Sheet. Mr. Morris, what happened to my original assembly? Guess what? Still here. Here's your tab. Right here on your browser, if you click, this is where you're at, go back and click on, or double-click. There's Sheet 1, there's Sheet 2. Now, we need to bring in the part. Go to Base. All right, now I don't want this. Mr. Morris, I don't want the assembly again. Why are you bringing the assembly back in? Well, here it goes. Expand this. Say, well, it still says assembly. Well, that's because Mr. Morris needs to hit this little file folder here. Now, I can go in here and I can find the base plate. Click on that. Select Open. Notice it changed. Okay? That's my first part that I want to dimension. Select OK. Now we're going to do like we've always done, good folks. We're going to look. We're going to project our views. Look, nothing new here, right? Nothing new. I'm just going to move them around some. You're kind of used to that. All right, now we should shade this. I'm not going to dimension everything here. I'm just going to put the overall dimensions because you should start knowing how to dimension this. We're getting better at this. All right, I will encourage you to go to annotate and put in your center lines. You should be getting better at this. Okay, we got our center marks here, correct? Okay, right here, same thing. Our center marks. Those aren't the only center marks, though. We have to use the bisector one. Click here, click on this line and this line. See this? And you repeat this for all of these holes as well. And we have done this a few times now. So I'm just clicking on the two hidden lines, right, that makes up the hole. All right, I'm going to right click. Notice there's no OK, so hit the escape. All right, now I'm just going to put in a few dimensions here because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. I want to show you I can go back to sheet 1 again. There's sheet 1. Here's sheet 2. All right, now I'm just going to put a few dimensions here. I'm going to put the overall length. And I will tell you the reason why my dimensions are off. Does anyone want to take a guess why my dimensions are off? Anybody want to take a guess?
The model that you're trying.
I'm kind of glad I did this because this happens a lot. Well, when Mr. Morse came in here, when I started this drawing, what did I call it? English or metric?
Metric.
I called it metric. Guess what? I just found out it's not. It's English. They're English units here, not metric. So when this happens to you, don't panic. I can show you how to fix that. It's only because I didn't have no dimensions to look at when I came in. So anyway, you need to make sure you have the right unit. These will come out to be nominal dimensions here. They're not going to be decimal equivalents right here. Okay. This is in millimeters here. This would be in millimeters. We need to put our text in here. Okay, right? Our view labels. This is the top view, right? And we're going to make this bold and underline it. Select OK. Remember, you always place these views under these labels under your views, not above them. I'm going to copy this and right-click copy, and then come below each view and paste it. Paste one here, here, and here. I'm going to edit these. Pretty soon you'll have a test to work on. And one of the things a student forgot to do on a test one time, what do you think he forgot to do? He forgot to edit his labels. So every one of his views was a top view. Okay. All right. All right, so Mr. Morris won't get an A today because this dimension is not millimeters. It should be English. All right, so guess what? I can go back to my sheet 1. This is sheet 1. This is sheet 2. Now we want to create a sheet 3. Look here, folks. Right-click on this sheet. Right-click on it. Select New Sheet. Look at the browser. The browser is now updated. I'm going to go to Place Views and go to Base. I don't want to bring this in. Go to the File folder here, and we're going to select the bearing. Okay. Select Open. And, you know, that looks like a pretty good size to me, but you can always change the scale later. Maybe I'll make it 1/3 scale or something. Or what does 0.75 look like? That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna let this be my top view here. I'm going to project, right? Okay. So you may have to play with the scale a little bit. All right. I'm going to make this, going to shade that. All right. And I'm going to put my center lines in. Don't forget them. Got one here, one here, one here. Okay. And then don't forget our bisectors right here and here, here and here, and here and here. By the way, this one here, notice if you hover over it, you can take this grip, hold down your mouse key, and drag it up. All right, now you would put the labels on here and dimension this. I'm not going to dimension it because my dimensions aren't correct. So Mr. Morris is starting off with a 70 today. All right, top view. No, we know that's not true. I have not graded that hard. In fact, I think I've graded more lenient this semester than I have my whole teaching career. That is, if you turn in something. If you don't turn anything, it's kind of hard to grade, right? All right, so make sure you edit all these. Okay. I'm going to make this, I'm going to speed this up a little bit because you guys are experts at this now, I think. So I just edited my view labels. Again, I'm not going to dimension, my dimensions are wrong. Guess what? Sheet 1 is still here. Guess what? Sheet 2 is still here. Okay? And then obviously sheet 3 is right here without dimensions. Now I'm going to go and make another sheet. I have one more part. How come I don't have to dimension the screws? Make a drawing of the screws.
Import it from Master.
It would be a standard part, right? You don't want to dimension something that is a standard part. It's not necessary unless it's a special screw. I'm sure you've probably made some special screws on the lathe or something at some point, Mark, but sometimes it's better to pull things off the shelf rather than redesigning the wheel, right? Why would you do that? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to right-click on this sheet and say New Sheet and go to Place Views, Base, click on the folder, and let's go look for our collar. Here, where is it? It's hiding from me. Here it is. Click on this, select Open. All right. Now you may want to change the scale of this. I'm going to make it 1, scale of 1. Okay. All right. There's my collar. Project. Okay, there's the part. All right, then we want to annotate this. Go to what? Center mark, click here. And then the bisector, click here and here. All right, shade this. All right, edit view, shade it. Let's put some labels here. Top view. Copy that label and let's paste it here and here. I'm going to edit this. This will be our front view. this will be our ISO view here. Okay. Now I'll put a few dimensions here. The dimensions are not right. That's because I chose the wrong units. See, the units will get you in trouble real quickly, won't they? So if I was going to dimension this, okay. I'm just putting some overall dimensions here anyway. Okay, so you need to dimension each one. Now look, we have a nice drawing package here. Look, there's sheet 1. As soon as I do a right-click OK first, make sure you do a right-click OK first. There's sheet 1, there's sheet 2, there's sheet 3, and there's sheet 4. I'm not going to make one for the screws because it says it's a standard part, so we won't have a sheet 5. Look what it says down here. Sheet what? 4 of 4. Now how do we send this to Mr. Morris to get a grade? We're going to go to File, and we are going to export this as a PDF. Now, when you do this here, though, go to Options, and make sure you select we want all the sheets to be a PDF. Not the current sheet, but all the sheets. And select OK. And select Save. Alright, so did I save it? I saved it in the same location, I think. Yeah, under Documents. So if I come here to Documents and click on this, I should. I don't want to replace it. Do you want to replace it? No. Oh, I'm going to try to open that up. So go to Documents. Okay. Come down to Bearing Assembly, and let's pray that it's there. All right. Guess what? Sheet 1, Sheet 2, Sheet 3, Sheet 4. When I get your PDF, all of them will be there. Be careful, because sometimes people send me a PDF and they only send me a PDF of the first sheet. I need your whole drawing package. All right. So at this time, this completes the video. You know how to print this out and so forth and save it. So I'm going to close this out. And I am actually going to post this video